If in case you're wondering where I'm talking from, I'm speaking to you from Bangalore. There's a small town called Sarjapur, which is on the southern end of Bangalore city. In fact, Karnataka ends here, and another 15 kilometers Tamil Nadu starts. Right, that's where I'm talking to you from. I coordinate admissions for Azim Premji University. So I've been thinking what I should be covering over the next 15-20 minutes or so. Probably 3 points, right? The number one point is we're talking about new age careers. Let me talk about careers for today's India, right? When you see, it's very hard to say preparing you all. I say you all, the sense people are finishing 12th standard, who will be working beyond 2050, right, or maybe 2060. You can't prepare you for a industry which is changing every now and then. So I'm not going to get into that, but I'm very, very clear what kind of career paths are out there for today's India. That's number one, right? Second, I think the one question that you all should ask is, after 12, you are entering into higher education. Why is that? Why higher education? Is it? I think we kind of say it very, very in a simple fashion, saying that higher education is about developing or gathering skills so that I'm ready for a job. Right? But what could be the other capacities that you need as a graduate? The reason why I'm saying this is for various reasons. One is I'm never tired of saying this to people who are entering college. You are in the lucky 25%, right? That's the enrollment ratio in today's India, and that's quite a big number. In terms of numbers, it's around 36 million, 3.6 crore young students who are out there in the colleges of the country. But then, what is that? What is that you should expect to happen to you when you graduate, right? Is it only about skills? I'll cover that. The reason I see after college, again, we see people enrolling for UPSC civil service preparation, or you end up in a if you want to get into a bank, you are again enrolling for a bank PO preparation, kind of coaching centers that you see in different educational hubs of the country. So is something missing in the higher education that you have to again go into what I'm calling an academic enrichment. So we'll talk about that first. Right. Third, finally, but what I'm trying to do using this framework of Azim Premji University is to give you an overall structure, overall framework, so that you make an informed choice of a place to study. Right. It's not there's no competition between. We don't come from at least in Azim Premji University, we don't come from a philosophy that we're competing with each other. Right. We want the young students, and of course, in some cases, their parents, to be taking a well-informed choice. How do we do that? We are living in a country with close to 993 universities. I think that's what the last All India Survey of Higher Education said, right? And close to 40,000 colleges. So how do you choose? So I'll give you a framework of that. Okay, right? Before the toughest part of this webinar, I don't know whether you realize, I don't see the audience. Right? That's the challenge of a webinar. Rather than going and speaking this in a classroom or in a particular hall, so I have to assume that there is an audience sitting there and they're really enjoying my talk. I don't see their eyes, I don't see their smiles, I don't see their anger. So I'm just assuming you're all very carefully listening to what I'm saying, right? So I move on quickly before I go further. Aditi, just give me a alert that I'm running over time. I think we should stop by 7:50, 7:55, and then take
sure.
Or after 20 minutes.
Sure, sir. Yeah.
Take question quickly about Azim. About Azim Premji University, established in 2011 at Bangalore. One key difference I need to bring out here is we are funded by Azim Premji Foundation. Right, it's a fully philanthropic, not-for-profit university. Why I'm saying this is, this is not a university operating on student fees. Everybody studies on some kind of a scholarship at Azim Premji University. Even the full fee-paying students' education also is subsidized. Right, that's the philosophy where we come with. Then why do we exist? We exist with a clear social purpose. So whatever work the university is doing, we want to see that it is contributing towards making this a much better society than where we are now. I'm not talking about only the degree programs. Of course, the idea of the degree program programs is the opportunity to prepare new talent, right? New professionals for today's India and tomorrow's India, right? Not only that, the continuing education programs that we do, the research that our faculty members are doing, the publications, the reports that we come up with, all is with a clear social purpose that education should contribute towards societal change, right? So with that, this slide, the next slide, which I'm going to show is not a complete thing, but if you look at it, this is where somebody is getting into higher education, right? For a undergrad degree, most of them will look at the what is there on the left end, right? Getting into engineering college or doing medicine, law, chartered accounting, so that I become a professional. Otherwise, you are choosing from these streams of what I'm calling sciences, social sciences, humanities. Or some of them may get into interdisciplinary programs like a BBA or a BBM. Don't ask me the difference. I'm still trying to figure out what is the difference between a BBA and a BBM. Or somebody may want to do a BCom or a social work. Some of them get into vocational. So that it's good to know. Why I put it out there is ask yourself which subject do you like the most. Don't do what we did in the 90s, right? In the 90s, we picked up a course or a program saying that, this is going to land me in a better job. That's how most of the people in the 90s chose their degree for higher education. Very few did that. No, I love mathematics. Let me do a BSc in mathematics. I love history. I love language literature. Let me do that. So very few people did that in the 90s. But my sincere request to you is to really spend some time in understanding what you like, and then pick that program. So this is the overall landscape that's out there for somebody finishing 12th, right? Now, when I talk about career options, right, this is what majority will ask, right? Engineer banoge, doctor banoge, the lawyer, chartered accountant. The question that we should ask ourselves, right? This is not only for people, is where will the next good scientist come from? Where will a biologist come from? We need historians, right? Historians who can write good textbooks for schools and colleges. We need excellent development journalists in the country. If I start talking about education, I'll have to speak for the next 30 minutes or more, right? We don't have specialists in the area of education in today's India, right? I'm just listing a couple more. I'm just quickly going. This, what you see on the right side, that is what Azim Premji University is really interested in. The last what I put in there is experts in public health, sustainability, climate change, water and farming. If you look at it, that's what we're talking about in today's situation of COVID-19. People are really looking at which is the state that has invested heavily on public health. Right? People are talking about sustainability. People are talking about climate change. The air is so nice. Right? Water, don't get me started. Water, we don't share water equally well. There's one set of people who can get the water delivered with a phone call. The other set of people are standing in a huge line with plastic pots to get water. Farming, the marginal farmer is struggling to make 30 to 40,000 rupees a year, right? So that's the challenge which I spoke about first, right? The careers for today's India is to solve problems and concerns that we face as society. So quickly, what is Azim Premji doing at the undergrad level? I'm not going to speak about the postgraduate programs now because we don't have much time. What do we offer? We have a 3-year degree program, which you see what we're offering. The sciences, you can choose between physics, maths, biology, or if you're interested in a BA, you can choose between economics or humanities. What is humanities? Humanities at Azim Premji University is a combination of history, language and literature, and philosophy, right? What I'm going to put next is my favorite, not that I don't love the 3-year programs are not my favorite programs, a 4-year dual degree program in science and education that will lead to a BSc B.Ed degree. For the sciences, you could choose between physical sciences, which is mostly physics, chemistry, the life sciences, for instance, biology, chemistry, or mathematics, plus education. Right? That's what we are offering at Azim Premji University. In case you're wondering, BSc करने के लिए BA करने के लिए इतना दूर क्यों जाना है? In case you wonder, that's the question that we get asked mostly when you go to colleges. But if you are interested, looking at Azim Premji University, look at our common curriculum also. It doesn't matter what you pick at Azim Premji University, right? You pick an area that is of your interest. Our graduates, our students, all of them go through a common curriculum. Why common curriculum? I'll explain in the next slides. So, but this is the broad structure of how the programs are structured. It's a residential program at Bangalore. I mean, even if you're living on this particular street, what is called the Sarjapur Road, you have to be in the campus. There's a reason for that, because the way the entire curriculum is structured is not that you're going to learn only from the classroom. Right? We need to be learning from each other. There's a lot of peer-to-peer learning that need to happen. We need to have systems where you can interact with faculty members, not in the setup of a classroom alone, where you're going to interact with them in a much more relaxed and casual atmosphere. So there are various reasons why it is a residential program. Moving on, I'm going to quickly talk about the program structure of the 3-year program and the 4-year program. How your 6 semesters would look like. That is what you should be really doing. If you're looking at programs in the country, try to see how your 5 semesters how your 6th semester or your 8th semester is going to look like. Ask the university, this is exciting me, right? That's what you should be doing. Moving on, the 3-year program, forget the credits part of it. It's a point that you earn when you join Azim Premji University. So it has got broadly 2 pillars. So one area is what I'm calling the specialization, right? You have to choose between one of them. You have to decide when you join Azim Premji University, whether they're going to choose economics or humanities or physics, maths or biology. But everybody will go through a common curriculum, right? The common curriculum for the 3-year program has got 4 components. The number 1 component to see there, it's called foundations. That's what I'm talking about. That's the capability that you will need when you graduate. You become a specialist in physics, you become a scientist, you become a mathematician, you become a biologist, right? You become a great economist, you become a great historian, but without this, it may look slightly incomplete. So foundation courses is to develop capabilities. It's basically skill building courses in critical thinking, writing, and public reasoning. So we have 1 semester course, and the name of the course itself is called reading, critical reading, right? Because the way the people have come to the school system depends on what kind of a school system. When we're talking about the majority of the country, whatever is written in the textbook is the ultimate truth. We have not really let our youth or the young generation ask questions. We're living in a world where, if a message is passed on the mobile phone 100 times, 1,000 times, which could be somebody's vague imagination or opinion, that becomes a fact. That looks like an ultimate truth. How do we give the next generation the ability to distinguish between opinion and fact? That's the biggest skill that you will need in the next 30-40. We adults also need it, but it's very hard to adults to really look at things in an unbiased fashion. We can, but you need to train yourself really, really well. So there are courses in reading. Writing is expressing your thoughts and ideas in a structured fashion, without copying, without plagiarizing from here and there, right? And public reasoning I'm not sure how many universities really is offering public reasoning. It's the decision that we make. Do we make only for thinking about our individual good, or are we also considering the larger society? That's the foundation courses. Understanding India is a compulsory component. All the students should learn about the past, our present, and what kind of a society do we envisage in the future, right? When I say understanding India, it's not another history course where you're only remembering dates and events, this king and the queen. It's about the people, right? That's what history is. History understanding is to know about how did people live during those times, right? How are people living today? And I always say there is one India that is going to the gymnasium to reduce weight, and there's the other India who are not really sure if they have proper meals after 15 days. So we need to really understand that the challenges that we face as a nation, because solution for that problem may come from physics, may come from biology, will surely come from mathematics. That's the joy of learning science and India in an integrated fashion. Right? All students have to choose one of the interdisciplinary study topic that you see there. So once you know about India in the first 3 semesters, in the last 3 semesters at Azim Premji University, you have to pick one of the topics, right? You can choose between education, human development, sustainability, or media and democracy. Who will do media and democracy? Is it for the economics or humanities students? No, really. Even the physics students are taking media and democracy. They want to enter into an area called science communication. That's the new age career that we should be really looking at. A science communicator, somebody who can communicate both between the public authorities and the public here, or the state and the public. And I say state, the government for easier language, or the government and the public. Or how do you communicate between the public and the state? Right? So that could be a role. So this, what you see in interdisciplinary study is compulsory, but you have an option. Finally, creative expressions. So I'm never tired of talking. Creative expression is it feels very sad when you see a school timetable when art, music, dance, theater, all those things slowly start stopping when you reach the 9th and the 10th standard. Entire focus is on the board examination, but we have integrated that into the curriculum. It's not extracurricular. You have to pick in at least 2 or 3 semesters. You have to do in the 6 semesters. You can pick between art, music, dance, drama. So it's not a hobby course. It's not to make you an expert. If I can quote what my colleague Alok always says, join my guitar class if you don't know guitar, right? You want to really see that you use not just your brain, but your other parts of your body, right? There are courses in guitar, there are courses in woodwork, there are courses in pottery. We had a martial art form a course called Silambatam, right? It's a martial art form from Tamil Nadu. So that's how the curriculum is structured. I'll stop by talking about the 4-year curriculum. And if people are interested to do research, you can enroll for honors degree also, but that's after the completion of in the 2 semesters. In the 3rd semester is where the discussions would start between you and the faculty member, and then decide whether you want to do an honors pathway. That means you'll be working extra, doing a research with a faculty member. So instead of graduating with 84 credit points, you'll be graduating with 96 credit points. It's not an extended 1 year. It's within 3 years you have to do that additional work, right? And that honors pathway is available for all. So that's about the 3-year program. I'll speak about the 4-year program and stop. Aditi, I'm seeing that almost closer to 8 p.m. But if I'm running out of time, keep me right.
Yeah.
So the 4-year program, we started in the undergrad program. We started in 2015. As a university, we started in 2011. We started offering unusual university. We started with the PG program, offering PG program in the fields of areas of education, development, and then public policy. The undergrad program started in 2015. The 4-year BSc BEd program started in 2018. The question that's in front of us is, this is all the feedback that we got from our work in the field. Azim Premji Foundation work in close to 50 districts with teachers, right? We want to see that the rural elementary education in the country improves, right? And the public education system should do well in the country. So we really know what we don't have on the field is good teachers or good educators. That's the background of this program. So you would learn both science and education together. It also has got a common curriculum, as you see. I'm not going to explain common curriculum again, but the point I want to make here is what people don't really understand is शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में सीखना क्या है? What is there to learn in education? कोई भी सिखा सकते हैं? नहीं, not really. You need to be trained to be inside the classroom, right? It's a very difficult profession to be standing there, engaging with that young learner, and trying to it's a cooperative project, it's a combined project, what I'm calling education. To transact that in the classroom, you need special skill, special training. But it's not only about teaching, right? So the way the education program, I'm not going to talk about the sciences. Sciences is exactly similar to what you do in a BSc program, right? We want you to think like a scientist or be a scientist, think like a mathematician. So there is no compromise on that. Education has got 3 components. Number 1 component is to build perspectives. What you say in Hindi is drishtikon, right? How do you build perspectives in education? You can't be a good teacher unless you have the broad perspectives on education. So we start by answering the question, why education? Why are we sending children to school for 12 years? What is it to prepare for a job, or is it something else? We will try to learn how is the social background of the child impacting education. Why are students, some kids are doing very well in school, some kids are not doing very well in school. What is the reason? Third, we need to learn child psychology, right? If you really know child psychology, while talking to a child, you'll go to the child's level and talk eye to eye. Otherwise, you're always talking to the child like this. And the child throughout the life will be looking upward to the master, saying that the master is going to give me something, right? So that's the perspectives I'm talking about that an educator should build. Second is pedagogy, the method of teaching. You know science, you know algebra, you know a plus b whole square, but how am I going to teach that to a young learner, right? It's not education technology alone. I may develop a fantastic software sitting here in Bangalore, which will not work in Begusarai, or it may not work in Barmer. You may have to have it in Hindi or probably the language that they speak in Barmer. It may not be Hindi. So that's the pedagogy I'm talking about. I mean, a classic example is the textbook is the teaching fractions using pizza, and the child has never seen a pizza. So the child is struggling to understand what is this pizza and not worried about fractions there, right? Third is the field practice. You need to do a lot of internships so that you really become a teacher or an educator that you want to be in a future pathway. We send you for one entire semester to be on the field with Azim Premji Foundation, right? So I'm going to come to the end of the my slide. Last slide is I spoke about common curriculum because I keep repeating this. You join Azim Premji University not for a BSc Physics program or a BA Economics program. You're joining an undergraduate learning experience at Azim Premji University. You choose a subject that you like, and then you go through all the common curriculum courses that you see here on the screen, right? Finally, so if you remember what I tried to tell you is the number one is the careers that's out there. The careers that Azim Premji University is truly interested in, careers that will make this a better society, right? It can be anything. You can do a business also, don't get me wrong. You can start your own business, but we want people are doing business not to exploit resources and do business, right? Do you have that kind of parameters or dimensions, ethical dimensions in you before? When I say resources, it's not only human resources, I meant the natural resources, right? So we talk about the need for social entrepreneurs in today's India, right? So that's the careers that, as I said. Number two is try to understand what is higher education all about. What do you expect out of it? You're not robots. You're not machines who are going inside a college university and they'll prepare you so that you become ready for an industry or a sector, and the jobs and the organization will come and recruit you. There's something else that should happen to you when you are in that 3 years or 4 years of college, right? You're giving long 3 years or 4 years of your time for higher education. The third, the point I want to make is to give you a framework. That's my last slide. Is to what should you look for in a higher education program wherever you're going. Doesn't matter. Of course, we'll be happy if you apply to Azim Premji University. You're interested in our kind of education. I'll be extreme. I don't want to hide my joy if you all decide to apply for Azim Premji University. But focus on these 3 things, right? Wherever you go, ensure that there is in-depth understanding of the discipline that you're interested in, right? It doesn't matter. You may be choosing Hindi or Tamil or Telugu or Bengali or Assamese or history or sociology or politics or economics. It doesn't matter. Or physics, Jovian. In-depth understanding, right? You should the day you enter college, start thinking like a scientist or a mathematician. Ask questions, right? So, and along with that, also see that you're learning something else, that which I said about India or some interdisciplinary topic. Second, no university should try teaching you everything under the sun, right? You can't load everything. But by the time you graduate, you should have some self-learning capability. It doesn't matter, acha naya article aa gaya, it's a new article that comes in my way. Let me read that. I can understand that. I don't need anybody's help. I don't have to go back to college again and again to right? So that fundamental self-learning, self-directed learning capacity you will definitely need. You will, please see that that's happening with you, right? Finally, look at your higher education not only for your individual good, right? Not only for your private good. Don't make it so selfish. Look at your higher education as an opportunity to make this a better society. So we want our graduates to, graduate as independent thinking, socially conscious, responsible citizens for the 21st century. So I'll stop here, Aditi, and I'll be more than happy to take questions. I'm not going to talk about admissions process and things like that. I didn't really mean to do this as a admission campaign session. But if anybody is interested, we are in fact closing the admissions on Monday. So 2 more days if you want to apply for any of the programs. This is the second round. We had one round in December. But if anybody in the 10th or the 11th, they should really watch out for our early admission notification that would come. But if you want to apply, you should be really applying in the next 2-3 days. We have a test and an interview in various parts of the country. Don't worry about finances at Azim Premji University. We have enough scholarships, right? It's based on a family income. If your family income is above 15 lakhs, the annual fee will come to close to 3 lakhs, right? But that's not the cost per student. Don't get me wrong. The cost per student is very, very high. 80 to 85% of our cost is met by Azim Premji Foundation, right? So, but anybody, very few people make 15 lakh and above in the country in terms of percentage. Very few people make. Anybody less than that, we have fee waivers, right? Fee waivers both on accommodation. So finances we'll talk about later. Try to understand the program, right? So
yeah, so we're right on time. There are 2 more days if anyone wants to apply.
Yes, absolutely.
Can you just touch upon the eligibility part of it?
Yeah, eligibility is can I move away from the slides now?
Yeah, please.
It's okay. I'll just stop sharing.
Sure, yeah.
So that you know, there's a better view of me here. Yeah. See, eligibility is in a class 12. Right? It doesn't matter. It could be ICSE, CBSE, or class EU state board thing, and 50%. We don't have a high cutoff. 50% in the 12th.
Okay, and this is
and then they have to there is the first step is an entrance test, and the entrance test is like this. There's a multiple choice part where we're trying to, unfortunately it's an English medium program. Why I said unfortunately, that itself may it's not that everybody would have. So, but it's not we have sample papers on the website. We want to understand your reading comprehension capability. A passage is given, there are questions asked. Are you able to analyze it? It's not a speed test. We don't want to put anyone under stress in that sense. The second part of multiple choice is numerical ability. Class 10 level mathematical. There's no calculus, so it's not for people who have done maths in 11th or 12th. It's logical reasoning kind of thing, and that's multiple choice is common irrespective of BA, BSc, BSc, BA. Then there is a part B, which is a descriptive component. You write an essay if it is humanities, Symposium in physics, and mostly applicatory kind of questions. That's how the selection process is. So once we shortlist then we'll get into a conversation with you. It's an interaction. It's not an interview. It's an interaction for us to understand, for you to understand us more. That's the selection process.
Right. And this is a residential program?
It is a residential program. We're trying to bring India into the classroom here.
Right.
We have split our students into various groups, if you look at the way the school system is. Right. How do we, that's one of the reasons why there's a lot of conflicts there out on the in the country. We want to really bring them all together. So the access to education is very important. So we really work hard to, I'm not bragging here, but we really work hard to see that there is enough diversity inside the classroom, right? It's for their learning also. And that's what makes the classroom interesting at Azim Premji University. Somebody is talking about how could you use digital marketing for farmers. Then there could be a farmer's child from Telangana who would stand up and tell that how difficult it is to sell the product at minimum selling price or MSP. So that's the interaction that we want to have in the classroom. So
So we have like a lot of questions on the academic weightage, admission process, but the one-stop solution for all these questions would be the website?
Absolutely. I mean, our website, we try to update as much as possible, but nevertheless, also there's a number, if you could call, there's a mobile number that you'll find on the website, which you could call, and then we'll be answering that. It's definitely the next 2 days that we have dedicated some time to answer those questions. So I deliberately avoided all those information that is available on the internet. I want to have a conversation, Aditi. That's what I was trying to do.
Yeah, and it was amazing to listen, very refreshing. There's one question that is really intriguing. Yeah. It says, do we get a direct entry to Azim Premji Fellowship?
Which are they talking about? Azim Premji Foundation Fellowship, or we don't have, the university is not offering a fellowship program.
Okay.
So foundation is having a fellowship program. So with what I think
I think yeah, it is the foundation fellowship.
There's no direct entry. Whenever they open, you have to apply. There is a selection process, right? A fellowship is a great opportunity before you start entering the social sector. There are plenty of fellowship programs. There is a Gandhi Fellowship. There could be a Teach for India. There could be a Azim Premji Foundation Fellowship, PRS Legislative Fellowship. But that's a separate topic. Social sector, I think we'll do that later. How to enter social sector? I think we should do a completely different session.
Definitely, we can't wait to invite you again.